Hi, welcome to the Pearls and Polish Podcast, episode 53. My name is Rachel. I'm your host coming to you from just outside Sacramento, California. If you're new, welcome. If you are a returning viewer, welcome back. This is my corner of the internet where I talk about mostly knitting, but also any of the other crafts I'm up to, books I'm reading, movies I'm watching. So thank you for joining us. I'm joined today, of course, by the chaotic co-host Sabine. She is my 7-month-old schnoodle puppy. She's actually laying here taking a nap. We've been really working on just chilling, being around but not being crazy. So I took her for a walk this morning, so I think she's a little tired. But she's laying right here on the floor next to me. So hopefully she just takes a little nap and just relaxes. But anyways, let's get to it. I don't have a ton to talk about today. That's always kind of the balancing routine for me with doing weekly episodes versus every 2 weeks. And that if I do weekly episodes, obviously I get to talk to you guys more often. But then I have less things to talk about. If I do them every 2 weeks, then I have more to talk about, but there's more time between episodes. So that's always kind of the balancing act for me. But before I start talking about finished objects and works in progress, want to let you know where you can find me. So in the description below are links to my Ravelry and Instagram pages, to my email address, along with all the links to makers, designers, yarn dyers, and anything else I mentioned in today's episode. So make sure you check those out. Let's see, what are we going to start with? We're going to start with finished objects. I have 2 right here. They are finished. Ends are woven in. They are not blocked. They have not been washed. They have not been photographed, but they're done. So I did this last week where I couldn't remember the name of these socks, but I think this one is Winter Forest. I think this one's Winter Forest, and these ones are Snowy Walks. Something like that. But those are done. I'll hold this up together. I am doing for Summer Sock Camp, which is wrapping up next week, all the socks from Pasley Knits Seasons boxes from last year. I saved them all and decided that this was going to be the year I was going to knit Shorty socks with all of those colorways. So I am on the last 2 colorways of the entire collection, and then I'm done. It's been interesting, I will say that much. I've really enjoyed seasons boxes and kind of quarterly boxes and yarn clubs. At the same time, there is kind of low level pressure of having to kind of keep up or finish things within a certain amount of times. This year I did do a couple clubs that were put on by Woolberry. They were put on by Woolberry. But I did not felt pressure to I have to knit these in this 3 to 4 month span. If I get to them, I get to them. And if I don't, I don't. So that has been nice as far as having a little more relaxed year. Of course, all rules are off when it comes to Summer Sock Camp, but the year as a whole has been a little more calm, which has been great. So anyways, those are my 2 finished objects. Finish those. The pattern is the Shorty sock set by Leigh. It's a collection of kind of variations on the Shorty sock. I'm just doing the basic B sock, so little cuff, couple rounds for a leg, your heel flap and gusset, and then straight onto the toe. The nice thing about doing the same pattern 14 times is you memorize it pretty fast. So I can now kind of pace myself as far as what needs to get done when, so that everything gets done in time. Speaking of which, let's move into works in progress. So I have 3 currently. 2 are actively in progress and 1 needs to get started. So we'll start with this one. So you guys have seen these before. These are my Prism Socks, and I'll show you the very small yarn cake, but this is the colorway Prism. It is dyed up by Lindsay of Hello Stella. She is based out of Canada, and this is her fingering weight 100% merino wool, 100 grams, 400 yards. I know I talked about this every week, but since I'm going to be finishing these up this week, I want to talk about one more time. Lindsay, like I said, based out of Canada, she specializes in non-superwash wool, so wool that has not been treated to prevent felting. And she's just made the shift into natural dyed yarns. So if you don't follow her on Instagram, please do, because she's been sharing a lot of her process of dyeing with natural dyes like walnuts and indigo, which is just fascinating as far as like what you need to do to get certain colors. So that's been really great following her along. And then also just working with a different type of wool has been really fun. I normally work with superwash merino, usually with nylon. This is non-superwash, no nylon. But it's got a great texture. I know some people are hesitant to use non-superwash wool because they feel like it's going to be scratchy, like those really scratchy wool sweaters. This is not it at all. Merino as a whole, the sheep breed is known for their really soft, longer staple length wools. So this is a very soft yarn. It feels really great in the hand. But anyways, this is my sock progress. I am almost done. So I have been pacing myself and only doing 10 rounds a day. I would love to do more and just like knock the sock out, but it's also been kind of nice as far as like once I do 10 rounds, I'm done and I can focus on something else. So that pacing has also been pretty good. So I might kind of employ that in other projects. Some that like I just need to finish, some just so I can lengthen the experience out. But I've gotten to the point where I just need 6 more rounds and then a toe and I'm done. Of course I need to weave in my ends and whatnot, but I'm really close to being done. This pattern, I feel like I forgot to tell the pattern name yesterday, but this is the String of Lights pattern by Sock Witchery. It's be linked down below. It's a really nice broken rib. So I feel like this really lets the yarn shine through, but it gives you just enough texture to keep it interesting. So the yarn colors is not overwhelmed by the texture. So I think this was the right choice for this yarn. So there is that. So by next week, I will have these done. Also, this is being housed in my little chameleon melon bag. The 3 bags I have today are all by Gabs of Slip Slip Sis. She does a podcast here on YouTube along with her sister, Chaylee. I always want to say Kaylee. I know it's not Kaylee. It's Chaylee. So they're here on YouTube. They're on Instagram. And then they have a shop on Etsy where you can get these cute little bags. So I felt like this matched the yarn well. So that's where it's being kind of kept. Next, let's do these ones. These are in progress. I can't remember if I had started these last week. I could probably look back. But this is pair number 3 for the winter socks from Pasley Knits. This colorway is called Aurora Borealis, and I think it's just beautiful. I love how it is like pull striping here. That's always kind of the risk with variegated yarns. I love variegated yarns, but you always have that risk of, is it gonna pull funny? Is it gonna pull different from this sock to this sock? But with socks, I don't really care. With sweaters or like a hat, I'm gonna care a little more and I'm gonna take extra steps to prevent pulling, unless it is intentional, but for socks, it doesn't bother me. So here's the second sock. I just finished the gusset decreases like 15 minutes ago. And here it is in the skein. So really beautiful, kind of light, very cool colors. This collection is very cool, you know, because it's winter, obviously. But yeah, I should have these done. If not this weekend, then probably by like Monday or Tuesday. I only have 45 rounds in the toe left, and then this sock is done, and I can move on to the last one. This one is being housed in my sushi bag, which has been a lot of fun. All right, the last one is the last of my kind of planned summer sock camp yarns. Every year for summer sock camp, I make a list of the yarns that I want to do for camp. I think last year I don't remember how many I ended up doing. But like I had a list and I got through my list, so then I added like a couple more. So that kind of helps me keep track of what I'm working on. You guys know I am one for setting goals, writing them down, and then tackling them. So this is the last one. I have not started it. I just put it in the bag. I would like to start just the cuff and the heel flap, and that's it. So this is, I think it's pronounced Svalbard, Svalbard, is a place in, I want to say Iceland. Yeah, Iceland. And it is this like gorgeous, again, very cool purple. It's got a little pink in it. I think some little blues in it, but this is the last colorway. So summer sock camp officially ends, let me check, on the 31st. So I have, today is Friday, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days to complete a set of socks here and the one sock there. I think I can do it. I will show you guys my knitting planner. So you guys know I love using a knitting planner. This is the first year I've done it for the whole year, and it has helped me stay on track so well. I will be making a video on knitting planners and why they might be helpful for you, what I'm going to be using in 2025. It's also a great way to combine hobbies. I love stationery and pens and ink and stickers and all that. But this is what my knitting planner looks like. So at the top, I put down all of the knit-alongs that I'm involved in. So Poultrypalooza, Summer Sock Camp, and the Hello Stella. Poultrypalooza and Summer Sock Camp and I think the 31st. Hello Stella goes into like the 1st or 2nd of September. And then I color code everything. So every project has its own color. I also have a list with like the project's number or that yarn's number. So instead of writing out Aurora Borealis, 7 times, I just use the number and then I have the code down at the bottom. And then for this one, here, this bottom row where it says 80, that's my Prism Socks. So I write down, this month it was in pink, but I wrote down what the goal was for that day. The goal is 10 rows. That's it. And then I wrote done once I finish it. So that has helped me really keep on schedule, on track with whatever I'm working with. It helps me not start 6 different projects all at the same time and then nothing gets finished. I tend to be very happy to start new things, but not very happy to finish those. So this has helped me a lot. So keep an eye out for that video. I'm hoping to put it out around either like Thanksgiving or Christmas, when, I'm not really in the mood to make a video because kids are on break. But there is that. Oh, I will show you guys my list. So I wrote out all of the yarn in my stash. It's also color coded. Red is like all my sock yarn. I have sock tubes, sweater yarns, other. And then as I complete things or sell things or give things away, I highlight those so I know that that is no longer in my collection. So I am now into my 3rd page. I know it says 112, but I'm not taking out, like I'm not starting the list all over when I start a new or when I complete a project. So that has been 112 since the beginning of the year, but I have also used up a lot of yarn. Okay, back to my notes. See, show notes. It's how I keep on track. This was not in the show notes, but I'll be adding it later. But anyways, I got super distracted. That's the last of the things I'm working on for summer sock camp. What happens after summer sock camp? I'm going to take a little break from socks. I usually need like a little palette cleanser before I'm ready for Advent knitting. I usually do socks for the month of December. So I have a sweater that I have not completed. It's been like 2-3 years. So I think this will be a good chunk of time to complete that sweater. I'll probably start another sweater. And then in like a couple weeks is the Woolberry Marled knit along. And there's information on Woolberry's Instagram. I don't know if it's on their website, but it's another knit along where you make something using Woolberry yarn and it has to be marled. So you have to hold it double with either another Woolberry color or another color of itself. So all that information is found on their Instagram. But I have like a little bit of time between summer sock camp and then the Woolberry make along. I do know I'm going to make socks. I'm going to make high desert socks with the road trip yarn that they came in a couple months ago, but those won't go too long. So I'll still have plenty of time to work on my sweaters. All right, so what are we reading and watching? So I finished Ninth House from Leigh Bardugo. It was really good. It is a little heavier than some of her other books, like the Shiver books, but I very much enjoyed it. Not for children, definitely. Maybe not even for teens. I don't know, that's one of those like your discretion type things. But really enjoyed it. So I'm looking forward to reading the next one. I think it's called Hellbent, but that might have to wait a bit. But I did start Shiver by Maggie Stiefvater. It's a book I've read many times, but I needed something kind of lighter and familiar, and it's been some time since I've read that book, so started that and I really enjoyed it. I also started this book called Why We Sleep, and that is really interesting as far as like the science behind sleep and why you need sleep and how your body works with sleep and what happens when you don't get sleep. I am definitely one who has the like, what's it called? The bedtime revenge, where like, you know, you're tired and you know you need to go to bed, but you don't because you want to control, like that's the one thing in your life that you control. I definitely have that where, especially on days that have been very long with kids and work and house things, whereas like the one thing I have complete control over is when I go to bed, which has not been great because then I only get, 4 or 5 hours of sleep. So once I started this book and realized, oh, like these are all the bad things that will happen if you continue making these life choices. I've been a little more convicted to going to bed at a more reasonable time since I am up pretty early with a puppy. So that has been really good. The only downside to that is I'm listening to it as an audiobook, and their narrator has a very deep, soothing voice. So it kind of puts you to sleep, which is great because, you need sleep. But at the same time, I lose focus or I get distracted very easily. So I kind of have to take it in smaller chunks, but it's been a great read. And then, what am I watching? I started House of the Dragon. I know it is completely out and I could have watched it when it was like coming out every week, but I had no interest in that. I want to see a show in its entirety. I do not want to be limited by like next week on this show. So I've been watching an episode a night. Great show. I really enjoyed it so far. Yeah, I think I have one more episode left and then we'll see how it finishes. But I've been enjoying that. And then I started Once Upon a Time. I've watched that show a couple times. I just needed some background noise when I'm focusing pretty hard on something. So that has been a great revisit to an older story. And then life stuff. Obviously, I got my hair cut. I have an undercut. So the like lower, maybe 4th, 8th from like here down, I had it completely shaved. A couple years ago, I had ear surgery, and so I chose to cut the back, like a good chunk of my hair in case the surgeon would have to cut it. I didn't want him doing it, so I made that choice to do that. And I really enjoyed it, and I really liked having it. Felt super cool when I would put my hair up and be like, oh yeah, I have like an undercut. But it was very hard to maintain, just because life gets busy and I don't always have time to ask my husband to trim it for me, or like make an appointment at the salon or going to Supercuts. It just got to be very like the last thing on my list to do. So my kids made a comment of like, are you gonna keep that or are you gonna grow it out? Because we don't like it. I was like, oh, okay, so I guess I'm growing it out. Also, it was just time for a really good haircut, so I went and saw my friend yesterday and she cut off a good chunk. I've had my hair this short before. I actually had a pixie cut once, and that was a really poor life choice. Since my hair is thicker, curly, it just was not a great choice. But I like this length. Obviously the goal is to grow everything out so it's all the same length, since the back where my undercut was is still a bit shorter than the rest of my hair, but it's a process. So it is nice to have a little shorter, a little less kind of in my face. So that's been great. Life, I think that's kind of like a life update. The rest of our life updates are puppy Sabine started puppy obedience classes. There's a group here local to me that has a facility, like an indoor facility where they do training. They also do boarding like they have a bunch of property. So we went to our first puppy class and she did really well. We didn't bite anyone. We didn't growl at anyone. Now that she does that on a regular basis, but she just behaved and she observed a lot and just took it all in and was very responsive. So that was really great. So we are going to be working on laying down on command. She knows sit really well, but just like asking her to lay down is something that she has not mastered yet. So we're working on that. But she did really well. Kids are back in school full time. I think we're kind of closing up that honeymoon period where like, oh, it's new and fun, to like, oh, like we're back to the regular schedule of things. But they love their teachers. They really love their friends. So it's been great to get them back into their routine of school. Yeah, I think that's all the life things. And then, of course, we need to announce the giveaway winner. Last week, we had a giveaway to celebrate 700 subscribers. Thank you guys so much for continuing to support the channel, for tuning in every week or every 2 weeks, depending on the season of life we're in. So I hosted a giveaway to celebrate that. So the winner is, the name's going to be down here on the screen. Congratulations. You won this skein of yarn from Yarnacious. This is the Duchess Dino. This was an exclusive set made for a yarn show that was a nightmare for everyone involved. But I was able to get a hold of this after said yarn show. And yeah, I love Yarnacious. For the longest time, I kept calling the brand Yarnosaurus because everything is dinosaur themed. And then someone very, very politely, very kindly, with so much love said, it's Yarnacious. Like the time periods, like, oh, yeah, that makes more sense. But anyways, this is on her Salta fingering sock set, 85% superwash merino, 15% nylon, 437 yards, 100 grams, and then the minis are each 87 yards and 20 grams. And this is the colorway Duchess Dinos. So congratulations. Please send me an email so I can get this shipped out to you. If I don't hear back from you in a week, so that will specifically be, I will even give you a date. So if I don't hear back from you by Friday, August 31st, then I'm going to draw another winner. But congratulations. Oh, there was one thing I wanted to show you guys. Hold on, let me go get it. So my parents went on vacation and they did this whole cruise thing in England and Scotland and Ireland, and they always ask, what can we bring you back when they go somewhere new? I said, you know, I'd love like a fun mug and some yarn, obviously. My mom knits as well, so she knows fun yarn. So they brought me back this really cute mug. It's got birds on it, but they also brought me back this. This is Studio, let me move my face. There we go. Studio Donegal on their Darnie base. This is fingering weight 4-ply. And this, they only do color numbers, but this is shade number 8806. And it is 100% lamb's wool. And it's tweed. So I would say this is like a purplish blue kind of color, but it's got red and blue and pink tweed in it. So they brought this back for me from, I want to say Scotland. I'm not sure now. I can't remember. Maybe Scotland? Anyways, I was so excited to see it. It is so soft and squishy. I wish you guys could like pet it through the camera, but it is so soft and squishy. I've gone back and forth with what I want to make with this. I don't know if that would be a great color near my face. I feel like it might wash me out a little bit, but I was thinking I want to make cabled hand warmers. My hands are always cold in the winter. And so I have a couple different hand warmers that I have made, and I've got some at my desk at work and I have some in my car, and but I would really like to make some cabled hand warmers and keep those in my pocket of my coat. And so I think that's what I'm gonna do with that, because one, this is a non-superwash wool, so the cables are gonna pop. They're gonna look beautiful. Two, tweed. Like, why would you not do cables with tweed? Three, when I looked up this yarn, a lot of the patterns that I saw that were used with this were cabled sweaters. Obviously I do not have enough for a cabled sweater that would fit my person. But I figured I could make some really cute cabled hand warmers. So that is also a project I'm planning on starting once I finish summer sock camp. I probably could make socks, but I don't know if I would necessarily want to with this. I feel like this is too pretty for socks, and it's something that I want to be able to use a lot. So there is that. Okay, now I think we're done. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. Make sure you like this episode, subscribe so you get a notification every time we put out a new one, and I will see you guys next time.